In this video, we're taking a look at 3 simple DIY projects that were recently featured in the Osborne Builder Studio. If you're interested in a more in-depth tutorial on each of these projects, be sure to check out the links below. The first step for this project is to create the box that our crown molding and our panel molding will attach to. To do this, we're using some pre-primed 1x8 lumber that we picked up from the local hardware store. Before cutting, make sure to take a measurement of your window to figure out the desired width for your box. Then create a miter cut on each end using a miter saw or a circular saw that will allow for a cleaner glue up. Next, we can cut our 2 side pieces from the same piece of lumber. The length you cut these two will determine how far the box sticks off of the wall, so this is an important measurement to keep in mind. Next, you can add some glue to the miters and tack them in place using a finish nailer or a brad nailer. The last step for the overall frame of the box is to add a top piece that we will use to attach to the wall later. For this board, I chose 1x4 lumber to make sure there's a flush fit on the back of the box. Now that our box is built, we can begin adding the crown molding and the panel molding to the frame. I'll start with the panel molding, which will be the trim detail along the bottom of our Cornice box. Once you have your bottom trim detail cut out, you can add some wood glue and place it on the bottom edge of the Cornice box. Once again, we'll use a finish nailer or a brad nailer to hold it in place and add some extra support. Next, we can measure and cut the crown molding, which will be our top trim detail on this box. To cut the crown molding, angle the piece against the top and bottom fence of your miter saw. When cutting this way, make sure the top of your crown molding is touching the base of the saw. I decided to flip the box upside down and use my work surface as a reference to get a flush, even fit with the top of the box. This is up to your preference and can be customized depending on your space. Once again, I'll add some wood glue and secure the molding in place using a finish nailer or a brad nailer. To attach the Cornice box to the wall, we're going to be using a piece of 1x2 lumber that we'll use as a mounting cleat that we can secure the Cornice box to. Keep in mind, if your window does not have a header above it, you may need to locate a stud or use a strong anchor to support the weight of the Cornice box. Next, I'll mark the center of the mounting strip and the center of the Cornice box so that I can align the two easier. Then I'll place the Cornice box on top of the mounting strip and hold it in place while I tighten the wood screws. For my installation, I did need to use a right angle drill bit adapter since there wasn't enough room between the ceiling and the top of the Cornice box for my drill. This is something to keep in mind and may be a good tool to invest in if you plan to do this for your space. The new contemporary bench kit from Osborne is part 55015 on our website. It's available in multiple wood species and it's going to come with everything you need to create a beautiful dining table bench for your table project. To get started with the assembly, this is going to go together just like our table-based kits with mortise and tenon joinery already installed. You can add some wood glue if preferred, but it is not necessary for these kit assemblies. Simply attach the mortise and tenon joinery and then secure using the supplied pocket hole screws. When assembling your kit, make sure that the skirt boards are oriented so that the pocket holes are facing the top side of the kit. This is what's going to be used to attach the tabletop later on in the process. Once the base is assembled using the mortise and tenon joinery, we can now add the corner blocks on the inside of the base for some extra strength and rigidity. Once again, this kit will come with all of the necessary hardware for assembly, including the hanger bolts and screws needed to install the corner blocks. I find it easiest to loosely install the hanger bolt first into the corner block and then install the pocket hole screws onto each side before tightening with a 1/2-inch wrench. This will allow the corner blocks to tighten up the mortise and tenon joinery just a little bit more, making for a very rigid fit. Next, we can take a 1/2-inch wrench and tighten the hanger bolt connection to the corner block. You don't want to over tighten this, but a little tension is good to make sure that the corners stay stable for years to come. We can repeat this process for the other side before moving on to applying a wood finish for this project. To attach the top to the base, we're going to use the standard pocket hole system that comes with most of our table-based kits. Now that our table kit is fully assembled and finished, let's go ahead and take a closer look. For this project, we're using the 4x1 S4S lumber from Osborne in mahogany. This project lumber is square on 4 sides, making it easy to use for your projects, and is available in a large number of premium wood species. To get started, I'm gluing up 2 of these boards side by side to make the base of our nightstand ballet. Since each board is 4 inches wide, this will give us an overall width on our base of 8 inches, and I cut the length to 12 inches. We can add a little bit of wood glue to each edge and then clamp them together, making sure to add a clamp on top to avoid any kind of warping. For the watch holder, I'm going to glue 2 of these boards on top of each other so that I have a thicker width that I can shape depending on the size of my watches. This area is completely customizable to your needs and can be sized based on bracelets, watches, or necklaces. I'll add a decent amount of glue in between each board and clamp them together while they dry. Next, we can remove the base from the clamps and get ready to work on the final details. It's important to remove as much glue squeeze out as possible before running the panel through your planer to avoid damaging your machine. I'm only removing a small amount of material from my panel to keep it around a 1-inch thick board in the end. This will ensure that any excess glue is removed from the surface and the seam between each board is flush. Once the panel is planed down, I wanted to add a full round over on the top and bottom edge to give it a softer look. I found the easiest way to do this was to use my router table with a large roundover bit, but you could do this with a handheld router as well, depending on the tools that you have available. Now that the lumber for the watch holder is dry, we can remove it from the clamps and begin shaping it. To fit my watches, I need the overall diameter to be 1.5 inches by 2 inches. I'll start by first trimming a square side on my table saw and then rip it down to a final width of 1.5 inches. This dimension may change depending on the size of your watches or bracelets, so keep that in mind when creating your project. To make the piece more suitable for watches, I wanted to add a round over to all 4 sides, which is going to give it a slightly oval shape in the end. As always, be sure to use push sticks when cutting small pieces on a router table like this to avoid contact with the blade. Once our edges are rounded over, we can cut the watch section to the final width, and I chose 4 inches for this, but it is dependent on how many watches or bracelets you choose to store. Next, we can create the center stand that will hold the watch and phone holder from our leftover lumber. Here I'm just finding the angle that I want the stand to sit at, as I know that I want to have it tilted back a little bit. I determined that I needed to cut a 15-degree angle to give the stand the look that I wanted, but this may change depending on your project. Once cut the length, we can rip it down to the final width of 3 inches and apply the same round over to all 4 edges. Next, we need to create the phone stand that will attach to the other side of our center support. For this part, I'm going to plan it down to a thickness of 1/2 inch to make sure the overall piece doesn't feel too heavy. Once the piece is milled down, we can cut it to length at 7 inches, which is going to fit most sizes of phone. We can add a very small amount of glue to this bottom piece, as we don't want to have any excessive squeeze out to clean up later. Then we'll add a clamp and let this dry and move on to gluing up the watch and center stand. Once the center stand is dry, we can now move to the final attachment of the stand to the base. To do this, I'll just find the center of my base and determine how far back I want the stand to sit. I'll apply a small amount of glue to the bottom of the stand and then use a brad nailer to hold it in place as it dries, as getting a clamp on this part is a little difficult. Once the finish is applied, it's important to buff out as much as possible from the surface before letting it cure.